Ladies and gentlemen, once again, explaining it in only a way that she can, we got our homegirl legally hype, and it is time to believe the hype. Now, I don't know if you took a trip to the stores lately, but it seems like the cost of everything's going up.
Okay, so boom, yeah, the prices are going up and they're going down. So mostly the price of goods, right? Things in the grocery store, the stuff that you have to pay for are going up. We see the price of gas is dropping, right? And even with the war still going on in Ukraine, we are seeing a difference in freight and being able to get goods across the seas because remember, people were now trying to move through that Black Sea, which caused a big issue. But the people in the Federal Reserves was like, okay, that's cool, but we still got an inflation problem. So guess what? Y'all are gonna see a little bit more. You're gonna see us raise the interest rate a few more times before the year is up because y'all playing. Y'all still out here purchasing stuff. We told y'all stop borrowing and stop purchasing, but
Mm.
y'all didn't listen. So we're gonna have to raise it up a little bit more because we need to curb inflation. On top of that, there may be some job losses, right? Because people are gonna get hit from all different kind of directions. So that's something for us to be prepared for going into the end of the year.
Well,
That just
another
is
inflation.
crazy.
Okay.
Isn't that a little crazy? Because then you have all these places that are saying like, "Oh, it's all these jobs available, and people don't want to work." So, like, how would that equate to people losing their jobs?
Okay, so boom, I guess it's just going to depend what particular areas are affected, right? Like what job markets are affected. It could be different. Yeah, McDonald's and Wendy's is hiring because we're still going to McDonald's and Wendy's to eat, right? But I've had plenty of people in my comment section say, "Oh, I just lost my job this last week," right? So when you think
Mm.
about like warehouse jobs, could be an effect if we aren't getting as much supply. It just depends on the agency that can be affected.
Got you. Now, another inflation I want to tap on real quick. I've been hearing this word thrown around a lot lately is shrinkflation, where like the cost of or the price of items is going up, but they're actually giving you less of that same item.
Mm.
That's quite possible. I I heard
You
something
talking
about
about potato chips?
and
I mean, that's
Starbucks.
that's
Like
been
I was
on
just about to
everything.
say, I heard
It's
something
always
about
been with that.
right. They only give you this much chips, this much bag. Like what's going on? Especially Lay's, knock that off. But no, I'm actually hearing a lot of that. I heard something about that with Starbucks too. I ain't trying to blast them out because I love me some Starbucks. But I heard that that is something that's happening, like, but the supply is lower. So, they got to make their money some kind of way. So if we don't have as much of it, but we still need to offset the cost of production, we got to pay the workers and things like that. They got to balance it out some kind of way. So it's quite possible.
You
They'll never
can't
tell us the
charge me
truth though.
more for less. How does that
Hairstylists
work?
do it all the time. Okay,
That's
hairstylists be
true.
charging $5,000 to put the wig on top of your head. They don't braid you down, don't wash, blow dry, none of that. So yes, you can.
Okay.
They can and they will. Okay. Something else that we've been seeing a lot of. I thought we wasn't going to have to see him that much, but Donald Trump, every day there's something new going on with this guy, whether he's suing the feds or they supposed to know he had these documents. What is going on with this man?
Okay, so boom, the feds are on Big T's head, okay, because this is a deal. So they have found out that there were highly sensitive, highly classified documents at his crib in Mar-a-Lago. So, a couple weeks ago, the feds ran up in Mar-a-Lago, and of course, conservatives were trying to make this whole issue, right? Like, why you send 30 police officers to his house? I mean, have you seen how big Mar-a-Lago is? How many people were supposed to search?
Right.
But the issue is that the feds are like, look, we asked you a while ago for these documents, asked you to see, what else you had in your crib or whatever. It could have been an accident, right? We asked you for the stuff. We sent you paperwork. We called you. We emailed your people. They said, okay, we're going to give you what we have. Y'all sent us 15 boxes. The people at the archives was like, no, it's some more stuff. There's more information missing, like, and we need it. And so at that point, they had to go get a warrant, go in Mar-a-Lago, and be like, we're just gonna look for it ourselves because we don't believe you. So the
Damn.
issue, right? So the issue now is like, you lied to us, right? Because we gave you a chance to give us these documents back and you didn't do it. So now we had to use our resources to come to your house and get it. So now we're mad. But we get to your house, and what we see is that you didn't even care about who had access to these documents because they're finding documents on the floor, in the drawer, on the bathroom, seeing all kind of stuff, right? And it's like, so if you and your lawyers just told us not too long ago that you were pretty sure you had everything, right? Your lawyers talking about they didn't see nothing, or as far as they're concerned, we got all the documents back, but we get to your house. and it's right here on the front door, like
That's
front doorstep.
crazy.
So I just like the narrative that, out of all these people that try to bring Donald Trump down, it may be some actual librarians who actually got it done.
Exactly. No, and it's true. But this is the thing: it's hard to prosecute a former president, right? Because that could be big implications for America. That could be a huge issue. So, of course, the DOJ is trying to be a little sensitive about how they handle the situation, which part of it is why we see like January 6th, who they
Right.
don't really have any prosecutorial authority, but what they can do is they can provide all type of evidence, right, that the American people otherwise wouldn't see. But yeah, you can't keep them documents because those documents, have very classified information. So, the spies that we got going overseas and stuff, getting intel from us, their names are in those documents potentially, right? The other issue with that is that these foreign countries can be like, oh, we don't trust America. So we're not telling y'all nothing else
Because
because,
they just, the documents just hanging out at this
yeah,
guy's crib.
right, you tweeting out our information basically at this point because you don't know who coming in and out of Mar-a-Lago, right?
Hmm.
It's been said that there were certain people who didn't have no business being at Mar-a-Lago trying to get information were there. They could have had access to stuff like this, so it puts us at risk because the other countries is going to be like, no, we're not fooling with America because y'all irresponsible for how y'all handle our business.
I asked you this before, but I'm going to ask you again now, this time. Do you think that there's a chance that Donald Trump could ever get, would ever have to
Incarcerated?
go to jail? Okay.
He is getting really close to the prosecutorial line, right? Like,
Okay.
and right now, one of the issues, potential issues, is were you obstructing justice, right? Because that is an actual crime and it's a big crime. If you
Right.
were trying to prevent the Department of Justice from doing a job or investigating something that you knew was out of pocket, that's a crime and you could go to jail for that no matter who you are. So that's why they're
Mm.
kind of, playing the thin line. And you see Trump and his people, they throwing anything at the wall to see what will stick. But
Lock
everybody
him
around him
up.
going to jail.
Lock him up.
He should have
Lock.
buried those papers with his wife.
Well,
Ex
No
apparently,
one would
wife.
have.
it might.
No one would have ever like went in there to get him with
I'm just saying it's something. Well, they didn't exhume bodies before, but it sounded like may have put something in there while she buried
Mm.
on Mar-a-Lago. We don't
Well,
know.
last but not least, let's talk about young Thugger, who's still currently behind bars, and there's a lot going on with him. Like he's tweeting from behind bars, and I'm also hearing there's a lot of people who are not willing to actively testify against YSL as a whole crew. So how's this case looking?
Okay, so boom. So yeah, it sounds like he was tweeting behind bars, but this is the deal. You never know, right? Because he's still an artist on the one hand, right? So a lot of times you have people who manage your social media for you, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that he has illegal contraband like a cell phone in jail. Maybe he was on the phone talking to a friend or two, talking to his management team or something like that, and they decided to tweet for him, right? So we don't necessarily know if it was actually him physically tweeting from a jail cell, but yeah, you should be careful what you're saying, be careful what you do because people are looking at you. In terms of the case, it's still pending. They probably won't see a trial until sometime next year. And if people don't testify, that's going to make it even harder, right? Because although you have these rap lyrics, we see a lot of different legislation coming up in different states and different areas about whether or not the use of rap lyrics are sufficient, if they create bias amongst the jury, right? So that is one way to get evidence excluded from a trial is to say, this is unduly prejudicial, excuse me, basically it's bias. I can't even think of the term, but it's bias. And what it will do is it will make the jury not like the defendant even more just based on this, as opposed to it actually helping to prove a case, right? Because at the same time, these lyrics are still arts, are works of art, right? You can also look and say, okay, compared to when this crime apparently happened, when was the rap lyrics, like when were they drafted, right? Like when did he write this song, when was this song recorded? Maybe he recorded it years before this incident happened, but we just decided to put it out this album or whatever the case may be. So there's different ways to kind of get that excluded. And I'm pretty sure, before a trial starts, there will be motions in limine, which basically both sides will put forth motions to try to get certain evidence in, get evidence removed and things like that. So we'll see what happens whenever they go to trial. And if
What
people
about the
don't,
witnesses that, so there's two witnesses that apparently are YSL and they were former members or whatever, but then their information got leaked online. will those people still be obligated to testify even if they feel as though their safety was kind of risked?
Okay, so boom, it depends, right? So it depends if they're subpoenaed, right? If they feel like they are at risk of harm, then the police can use their resources to put them into protection, into a witness protection program, right? Their names can be redacted from excuse me, their names can be redacted from the transcripts and things like that. There's different ways to conceal their identity if there is an issue of perhaps they may be in danger for testifying.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on how beneficial their testimony is for one, right? Like, is what they're going to say help you win your case? And it depends on what type of danger they may or may not be in.
Phew, man, it is a rough and dangerous place out there for many. Well, yo, Legally Hype, appreciate you as always. People want to check you out because you be doing some dope things throughout the week. Where can they go?
I am legally hype on all social media platforms. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. Check me out.
We are the morning hustle.